Welcome to Better Neighbor Presents Chicago Style Hot Talks with Chef David Posey. David, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Are you a fan of the Chicago Style hot dog?
Oh, I love it. I grew up in Arlington Heights. I lived there until I was 7 before I moved to California. And Portillo's was like on the drive home from soccer practice was like our little treat. So it's like straight nostalgia for me.
So in your opinion, Portillo's has one of the top Chicago Style hot dogs?
It's my favorite. I think so.
So we have 8 different hot sauces from 8 Chicago restaurants, and we'll be randomly picking them and choosing which one to add to our Chicago style hot dog. The first hot sauce is Kimski.
Kimski, sick.
Out of Bridgeport, Chicago. So Kimski hot sauce is piri-piri and fermented black bean, as well as Korean pepper flake. How would you modify Chicago style hot dog if you had to for the David Posey style hot dog?
Sometimes I feel like there's a little too much acid and it gets a little redundant. So I like, it's like making a BLT. Like I would never make a BLT outside of the summer. So I would have it be the 6 things on a Chicago hot dog and tomatoes in summertime. But that's just me being snobbish about it.
So you would just leave the tomato off for the rest of the year and just do peak season tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did you get any of the flavors from the?
Yeah, it was good. It really added like a nice. It's not super spicy to me, but it definitely added like a nice like round umami like deep flavor.
So if you were to create a hot sauce, what kind of flavors are important to you as a chef?
Well, I think it's important that it's not just super spicy, so it does have to have some depth. But it is nice to add acidity, a little bit of heat to round things out. So I would make sure that it had a little bit of complexity, definitely fruitiness because peppers are fruit. And I like a little like herbaceousness to it, so like a green style hot sauce.
All right, let's move on to the next hot sauce here. This is Hineys hot sauce.
Hineys.
This is a mustard-based hot sauce and includes oleoricin capsicum, which I believe is the active ingredient in pepper spray.
Sounds so good.
It is mustard-based, so it seems like it would be a natural fit.
I actually, speaking of pepper spray, funny story is I accidentally pepper sprayed an ex-girlfriend of mine in high school. Like right in her eyes. We were sitting in her car, and I see this little tube with a red thing on top of it, and I'm like, "What is this?" It was right next to the seat, and I just push on it because I'm stupid, and pepper spray goes right into her eyes. It's so bad. That's a feeling I hope nobody ever experiences.
How did your relationship fare?
It was all right. We survived. We survived. That just tastes like mustard to me, to be honest.
How did California form your taste buds for comfort food?
California comfort food, I mean, for me, that is like In-N-Out, tacos. Those were my comfort foods growing up, like what I would always go for. Just, carne asada or barbacoa or al pastor with just cilantros and onions and then hot sauce on top or salsa. It's like maybe my number one food.
Was food something that like you and your friend group socialized around, or did you seek that out just by yourself?
I definitely got like into it like a way deeper level. But my friends and I growing up, we would do this thing called the Tour de Fatness, where we go to each one of our spots. And being a teenager, having a bottomless pit of a stomach, we could go in Glendale and eat like a half a chicken with rice and tortillas, and then we'd go to In-N-Out and eat a double. Then we'd go to Taco Steaka and eat like 4 tacos. Then we go to Fred 62 in Hollywood and get a Bossa Nova waffle sundae, which is a waffle with 3 scoops of vanilla ice cream and dulce de leche and whipped cream on it, and eat it all. And that was like a short version of the Tour de Fatness. Sometimes it was like 6 or 7 stops. So like we definitely loved food and, you know, bonded over it, which I think is pretty special.
All right, let's move on to the next sauce here. We've got the Picante El Chivo from Birria Zaragoza.
Oh, it smells so good.
Definitely stands out.
That's super good.
That's really nice.
Yeah, that's great.
So you said that you had some experience with tacos. Did you ever venture down into Mexico and explore down there?
Yeah, Anna and I went down. We did like a Central and Southern America trip. Yeah, we went to Mexico City, and it's just like a different level. I think LA has some of the best tacos in the whole world, and Mexico City obviously wins that game, but it wasn't like drastically different from what I was growing up with. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like the LA air or something. It's just the tacos hit a little different there.
When you're planning a trip, what things do you solve for when you're creating an itinerary or a place that feels like it will be refreshing and exciting to travel to?
It used to revolve around food. So we would plan a trip like we did France one time. So it would be like, let's go to Michel Bras, let's go to Le Grenouiller, let's do this thing. And we ended up driving around pretty much the whole border of France, visiting all these restaurants. And now, as we get a little older and we can't eat, you know, tasting menu every single night or like 2 tasting menus in a day, and don't really enjoy that, like living that lifestyle and feeling like shit all the time. Now it's more focused on like a recharge and a reset.
Yeah. You've had experience cooking in world-class kitchens. What did fine dining hold for you that you would have always been curious about if you didn't try it?
Ooh, it's so many things. It's the intensity of it, the demand for exactness and perfection. It's the creative aspect of you know, new flavors or new techniques or new textures or putting weird things together. Plating is like an art. It is something it's endless. You can never know everything about food ever. I think one of the harder things of this whole situation that we're in is not getting to do something for other people. It's really, really gratifying, especially having an open kitchen like the restaurant is completely open, and seeing people take a bite of something and just their expression is how they're happy makes me so happy. I went into it as like a self thing. It was something for me, and then seeing how it impacted other people or made their anniversary or their birthday like extra special, it's like very rewarding. I wasn't really expecting that as much.
Did you experience kind of that, like the intensity of routine or of exactness in other ways as a younger person that you resonated with, or was it something that you hadn't experienced that you wanted to try out?
I don't know. I was in drumline in high school. We would practice every day after school. It was one of our periods, and we would practice before school. So I think the striving to be the best of something, which I had never really experienced before. Drumline, I like really wanted to be good, but I never pushed myself that much. And it was just something about cooking. Actually, the first book I ever bought myself, cookbook, was the French Laundry book, and I've read it 100,000 times. And his whole little thing on perfection is unattainable. It just clicked with me, and I don't know if I only associated cooking with searching for perfection, but that's just the thing that clicked.
Let's move on to the next sauce here. All right, we're going big. We're going to dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire.
Nice little picture of our president there. This is the Carolina Reaper, chocolate habanero, and white vinegar. It's also peppermint extract.
That's weird, huh? Ooh, this one comes out quick.
Yeah, I soaked it.
Yeah, that's spicy.
Top.
I put so much on it too. Oh my god.
It's a good time to say
There you go.
what my drink of choice is Oatly chocolate milk, straight out of the carton. So striving for perfection, to me, it feels perpetually frustrating. But I don't think that's everybody's interpretation of it or everybody's experience of that word or that concept. So how do you internalize it, and how does it motivate you, and how does it need to be interpreted so that you feel okay with it?
It's not really something that I think about anymore because, yeah, it is very frustrating. Like, realizing things will never be perfect. It just is not going to happen. So I think to save myself, like, the anxiety of going along with it, I've just let it go. And I realize that things might not be perfect and they'll be okay as long as we try to make them as nice as we possibly can.
Was there a particular experience or period in your life where you consciously made a shift, where you allowed yourself to let go of that pursuit?
It is a recent thing. When I was the chef at Blackbird, I really pushed myself and I think others around me. And when we first opened Elske, I really pushed, and I wanted everything to be perfect because it's, you're establishing a restaurant, so everything has to be perfect. Nowadays you can't open a restaurant that's just okay, especially in a city with so many great restaurants. It has to be like unbelievable, or at least what your version of unbelievable is. Especially opening the restaurant and people not knowing what the intention is or what you're going for is extremely difficult. So having won these awards and Michelin stars and having a reputation, it's a little easier for people to understand what we're going for. So I don't have to express it as much. I think it's kind of already kind of like out there in space.
All right, let's move on. Well, there's not a ton of relief here. We're going to Goose Island for the Violet Scorpion.
Oh, shit.
Yep, me too. Here we go.
It's got a lot going on.
Dang. All right, so I want to talk about awards a little bit. They're obviously really nice to get. What would you tell, like, just starting out Chef David in how to think about awards, what place they hold and what place maybe they don't hold?
So my goal when I was like 14 or realized that I wanted to be a chef, my goal was to be the most famous chef in the world. That's what I wanted. And I don't know if that's because that's what Thomas Keller had at the time or it was just my grasp of it, but it was very important to me. And then seeing how hard that is to have this goal of being the most famous chef in the world and, kind of learning what you have to do to get there, it's just something that's weaned off. So it's kind of the same with awards. Awards are a nice pat on the back. There's another level to it that you can't control. So like, why focus on it? You can't really worry about what other people think about you. Why would you live your life like that? So just do your thing, do it as well as you can, and be happy with it. And if other people like it, then you get awards, and it is a very validating feeling, and you feel kind of justified in your decisions, and it's unbelievable. And if not, and you just have happy guests, happy people are coming to your restaurant, that's also great as well. Like that's an amazing feeling too. It's more rewarding than awards. Like the first day that we opened, before we won anything, the feeling of somebody sitting down in a seat in the dining room and spending their money that they earned on something that you've created is better than any award ever. And then you get to experience that every single day.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 hot sauces to the bunch. 2 surprises that are not Chicago hot sauces. One you may be familiar with is called Da Bomb. And then the other you will be familiar with, possibly if you're a Hot Ones fan. This is the Last Dab. Bang bang.
Oh man.
a little reprieve. All right, so we have Bang Bang their hot sauce made with co-op with Anaheim chili, vinegar, and garlic.
Wow, it smells great.
Have you had their hot sauce before?
No, come on.
Did you see that?
Did the bottle break? What? Extra fermented. You opened it up, it went bang bang.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you to write a quick menu.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be elaborate. Maybe one dish that satisfies the corresponding. So let's do breakfast and salty.
For salty, I would probably do an eggs Benedict type deal, English muffin, bacon. That's more braised, like pork belly or something. More like the bacon that they have at the Publican. So something like that. Probably a poached egg. Maybe like a hollandaise sauce with a little bit of miso in it, or like salted mushroom juice or something. Or actually, we just made, because of the whole Corona thing, and we had all this extra food in the walk-in that we couldn't go to waste. We made an egg white amino sauce, which is just koji and salt and egg whites. And you let it ferment, and it tastes like soy sauce. So I'd probably make a hollandaise with some of that egg white amino sauce, so it's super eggy. And that's it. That sounds like a good salty breakfast dish.
How about sour and lunch?
Ooh, sour lunch. I'd probably do like a Thai-style sour sausage, but treat it like a bratwurst or something. Like put it in a bun. Maybe the sour sausage, some green papaya, like shaved on top with a little bit of vinegar and chilies in it. A little cilantro. Casual. I'm going very cash with all this food. Just realized.
Okay, let's choose our next hot sauce. Honey butter. All right. This has Japanese chili, red chili blend, and rum-aged vinegar.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was just going to do the same
Very
thing.
light.
Right in the hand.
Very light. I know you're a music fan. I'm interested in what 16-year-old David's playlist looks like.
Oh, shit. What was it? It was a lot of punk rock. Like old school, like Dead Kennedys was my favorite. A lot of Misfits and Black Flag. But then I also loved like the shitty pop punk of like Fat Records and like Epitaph. Guys like Mad Caddies, No Effects, Me First and Gimme Gimmes. That was pretty much it. A little bit of rap, but just mostly angry music all the time.
Was there a scene by you growing up where you could experience it firsthand?
Oh yeah, I mean, I lived 20 miles northwest of Hollywood, so I could go to the Troubadour or Whiskey Go Go or any of those clubs, and then there was Pomona too, which had a lot of colleges, so there were lots of like little venues there. So I was going to shows all the time. You know.
Getting back to drumline, because I forgot that you mentioned that. What is it that people who have no experience with drumlines or marching bands in general, what are some things that kind of typify the mindset of a high schooler that wants to participate in something like that?
Well, it's so many things that have to come together. You know, the music is obviously a big facet of it, but then there's also the marching and the movements as well, which, you know, marching backwards at, 140 beats a minute, where your feet have to line up and everybody's feet have to line up, and doing these things around people and turning and playing the music is pretty tough. My marching band in high school was 400 people. So that's huge. Like, we were one of the bigger schools in Southern California. And the sound that we would produce, like when all the instruments, like the trumpets and all the brass and woodwind instruments, like focused at the judges box, it was so loud and like powerful, and like I'm getting like goosebumps just thinking about how such a great feeling it was. It felt unbelievable.
All right, let's dive into our next one. Okay, Pipeworks Unicorn Tears. It's jalapeno, chocolate, habanero, and sour pickle brine.
Ooh. It's a thick boy.
I'm interested in your dog.
Bazooka? He's the best boy. He's the best boy.
I want to just ask how Bazooka came into your life and how Bazooka's changed your life.
Oh. Bazooka was Anna's dog before we met. And just his presence, I've never had a male dog before. It's just like a different vibe from him. Like Bazooka's a homie and he wants to play.
Am I wrong that you have him tattooed on your body?
And yeah, Anna does as well. I have a little portrait of him with shrimp and chicken on each side because he loves eating shrimp and chicken.
Oh, that's great. I love it. All right, so we're into our final two sauces here. We've got the last dab. All right, it is pepper X, chocolate pepper X, peach pepper X, and vinegar.
Oh! Let's get crazy over here.
All right, my next question is, you went into business with your romantic partner.
Yup.
What were some discussions that you had going into it that proved to be helpful, and what discussions or things did you think about going into it that haven't necessarily been much of a factor?
It's like right here on me. It's just like insane. We kind of had the foresight of knowing that we've never worked together, and we were opening a business, so things were probably going to happen and there were going to be arguments. So we tried to kind of cut down on that by going to a therapist and doing couples counseling. Before. So it was like a preventative measure. And that was unbelievable. We wanted to like squash anything before it even happened and have like a mediator there to help us talk us through this process. And I think therapy is seen as such like a negative thing, and now it's not at all. You know, it's perfectly healthy. You go to a trainer, you go to the gym. Like therapist is the same thing for your brain and for your emotions and heart. Another one was making sure that we know each other's like what lane we were in. Anna's she's artistic, so she kind of runs our Instagram account. She does like all the little graphics and stuff. And I I have more of a sense of the business aspect. So those are two completely different worlds. And then having kind of like the middle ground of the kitchen where she does all the sweet and I do the savory, and we could bounce ideas off of each other. That's been helpful, and we both let each other do their thing. We're definitely very opinionated about stuff. Like if I put something on a dish and she doesn't like it, she'll tell me, which in the beginning was kind of hard. You kind of get your feelings hurt a little bit, but then when you realize that it's all for the sake of the restaurant and it's trying to make things as good as they can, then you kind of get over it.
All right, we're down to the last sauce, which is Da Bomb.
Da Bomb.
Yeah, it's official.
It's so bad. It tastes like you shouldn't put it in your. It smells like you shouldn't put it in your body.
All right.
This on a hot dog is not bad. Thank God.
not the nightmare we thought. All right, a couple other questions here as we round things out. First is, if Chicago was not a city, what other place would you root yourself in?
I love San Francisco, Portland, Los Angeles maybe. It's getting a little hotter in my mouth.
Yeah, it's heating up. Do you think that you would, like you said, 2 American cities, has any place overseas?
Oh, I don't know why I just limited it to the U.S. If I could live anywhere in the whole world, it would be Copenhagen, 100%. You ride bikes, you drink beer and eat hot dogs. Everybody's super nice. It's awesome. It's the best.
That's great. All right, and my final question is, if you were asked to open a kiosk at Six Flags, what 3 foods would you serve?
Oh, because I'm trying to think of it like as a business thing. Like I want to serve things. I want to serve things that are like popular and people want to eat. I'm doing a white bread concept. Okay, here we go. White bread concept. PB&J, grilled cheese, patty melts. What else? I'm gonna coat chicken in breadcrumbs and do like shake and bake roasted chicken. So like fried chicken. That's like that's all the stale bread. And what else?
What about dessert? Something sweet.
I was just thinking about I mean like French toast with ice cream on it would be pretty sick. Like what if you could make a French toast ice cream cone and then put the ice cream in it?
What if you could?
Who's saying you can't?
Are you a huge bread fan? Is that what this comes to?
Yeah, I love bread. I love bread. Yeah.
Bread for all 3 courses. Something breaded, bread itself, and then French bread.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for doing all this with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me. I like how the lighting has changed, and now I'm just the creepy guy sitting in front of the computer because I have no lights on in here. Luckily, it's just like the very end. Yeah, it just got real close.